Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie on the 10th of March 2026, and I felt called to come on here this evening still with the Astro weather starting from tomorrow on. Although it's been a long day, there's been a lot going on today here in my life, but it is the day when Jupiter goes direct, actually in less than an hour at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. Jupiter in mid Cancer, smack at 15 degrees, goes direct again after retro journey since 11/11/2025. And so we are moving forward with Jupiter. Big astro news for the week. One part of that bookend of the week starting technically tomorrow, from Wednesday to Tuesday, my astro week, and ending next Tuesday, the day before the end of Pisces, new moon on the 18th of March, just before spring equinox. So we are now in the last decade of Pisces for starters, and we're also in the waning moon phase. So all of that is about letting go, is about surrendering, is about um, bringing everything back together in the love that is the that's the law of the universe. That is the web of life, is all fed by love. And this is what it all comes down to, where we all can come together in what is the solution, the resolution, love. And it came up in a beautiful session this evening as well. Now, in the end of Pisces, Decanate, the last 10 degrees of Pisces have also Pisces undertone. So again, it's about surrender. It's a big transition also from end of winter to early spring. That's a big deal. It's a big outflow, also reminiscent of the last year and last months of Saturn and Neptune at the end of Pisces. Both have now entered Aries, have come together already on February 20th, and we're in a big transition phase. We know that, right? So the Pisces age, as I've referred to many times, has come to an end. It's still outflow. It's an overlap, right? It's not like a sequential, organized system in that way. It's very organic, so it comes in waves, and we having these big waves of Pisces outflow, of course, also in the war in and on and out of Iran, where we see old regimes, yeah, re-establishing power, and at the same time, it's a convoluted situation when it comes to all the involvement and entanglements of various forces and alliances across the world, ultimately all imposing and inflicting suffering. So much Pisces energy in that. On that note, suffering in the name of ideology, and yeah, so again, the codependent triad and entanglement of victims, more victims, human victims, yeah, and all sentient beings that are at this point put into more victimhood and into more suffering, perpetrators and martyrs and saviors, or those who pose as saviors. You get the idea, right? So all of this is coming up now as a big tsunami on its way out also, and also as a signature of the Saturn Neptune conjunction. Since Saturn also has to do with old established institutions, and Neptune has to do with release, or also with a cascade of effects, right? And it rules Pisces, the Pisces age. So there is a closure, and that is also, it comes up in a tsunami right now. So for us not to get sucked into it, not to get sucked into that ring of fire and into that vibration of more suffering, more helplessness. I mentioned it last time already. We can do something in our world. We can contribute to the overall energy field. It might seem like a little drop in the water, but at the same time, we're not going into um, spiritual bypassing or not going into denial, but we're actually consciously contributing to what we wish to see in the world. And what would that be? Freedom, and it would be also awakening, right? So awakening of humanity to what's going on, and that can happen on many levels, of course, including politically. Yeah, so let's go into the astro weather this week. And as I said, the big news this evening in like less than 45 minutes, technically, Jupiter goes finally direct again. It's been stationary, it's been sitting on this loop um in the center of Cancer. And I show you already here a little preview of the end of Pisces new moon. Not sure how sharp the image is, seems like it's a bit fuzzy, but you can see Jupiter is here in the center of Pisces, as in the center of Cancer, where it goes direct today and goes forward, goes through Cancer until the 29th of June before it enters. Sorry, this way. I'm looking backwards at it. It goes into this direction until end of Cancer, enters Leo on the 29th of June, and will continue to go direct until the 12th of December. So what's with that Jupiter part, right? So Jupiter, also very cool that the moon is in Sagittarius today, ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Cancer, ruled by the moon. So it's a mutual reception. They are in each other's signs, reinforcing the theme. So you can feel it also on a personal level, on a more it's like an impermanent on the lunar level, where our emotions are shifting and changing on a day-to-day basis. And so the moon in Sagittarius now brings out also our goodwill, our spirit, inspiration, opportunities, um, positivity, understanding, truth, and freedom. All of that is Sagittarius. And Jupiter is super strong in Cancer, where it all says, okay, how can we understand, like even the human condition? How can we understand that we are all human family, and how can we enhance that? And rather than going with old tribal dynamics, which have been really strong in all these wars, of course, and have been hijacked, very uh, primal instincts. So we need to outgrow those is also Jupiter, right? Growth is comes with Jupiter. How can we come to a safer place for humanity, for families, for children is a big notion for Jupiter in Cancer. Safety and protection. And yeah, so this will now kick off. You might not quite see it immediately since Jupiter needs to catch momentum, but I would say by the end of the month you really feel the shift. Since then, we also have Aries season, and we have Mercury out of retro as well. Mercury will be the last planet to go out of retrograde, which will be on the 20th of March, spring equinox, and move forward. And then we have a retro free phase until early May when Pluto goes retro again. So this will be quite the shift now, and a lot of momentum kicking in with the Aries season, where we have lots of Aries energy at that time. But for now, we're still in the last 10 days and degrees of Pisces, from the 10th to the 19th, today till the 19th of March. And as I said, it has a Pisces energy, has a Pisces undertone. So it's all about love, it's all about connection, and it's all about release, surrender, letting go, adaptability, flexibility, allowing, opening up for better energies to come in, ask for help, and be in the flow and in the groove of life, right? And so, what else is going on this week? Of course, my article will come out for Jupiter's turnaround and direct course. It's still in the making. There's a lot going on, as I said, at my work and my life these days. but it's you'll see it. And let's just look at the moon at this point and then also at other alignments. So we have the moon in Sagittarius still until tomorrow evening. And tomorrow will be then also the day when the moon is end of Sagittarius, which and will be half moon, right? We have the sun end of Pisces, moon end of Sagittarius, waning moon. And so this Sagittarius Pisces connection is all about faith and trust and surrender, but also connection, flow, and truth. And spirit is actually a very spiritual connection, it's a very spiritual combination, Sagittarius and Pisces. So let's see what comes down, what comes in for you in that regard, how you get inspired, uplifted, and have new faith in your heart, all of that. Then, yeah, the moon goes into Capricorn, finally also an earth sign, since there's nothing in an earth sign at this point except Uranus in Taurus, which is not very earthy. It's actually very disruptive for stability, as we know. And Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, 2019. So, yeah, you know what that is all about. And yeah, quick flashback. Uranus was also very active at the Ring of Fire annular solar eclipse on the 18th of on 17th of February, and that one was in square with Uranus, right? So that whole Iran situation and also the raid in Mexico, the cartel raid, happened soon after that Ring of Fire solar eclipse and in square with Uranus in Taurus. So lots of sudden and unexpected events happened in the course of that. And on that note, yes, we are still in eclipse season. We're also winding down slowly from the eclipse season. We had the annular solar eclipse on the 17th of February. That started the Ring of Fire. That started the year of the fire horse. The fire horse was jumping through the Ring of Fire. What a fiery, volatile, unpredictable, and yet super energized, supercharged energy. Things go fast now and can change on a dime. And yeah, and then we had the total lunar eclipse on 3/3, which also constituted um, in the Hebrew calendar Purim. Check that out, how relevant that is for the whole justification of this preemptive war. And I only came across that through watching the UN Security Council discussion between the Persian, almost the Iranian and the Israeli representative, and the Israeli representative had a very emotional speech referring to this whole Old Testament Bible reference with Purim that had to do with Persia. So you can figure that out on Wikipedia if you like, or in my article that I wrote for the total lunar eclipse, with a special feature about the charts of the total lunar eclipse, the effects on Iran, on Israel, on the US, and on Trump. So there's a lot to unpack there, so to say, right? And I'm not referring back to that. You can always get to my Facebook page where I also post these articles, and I also posted a special feature just about the Iran war astrological perspectives with those charts. So yeah, and as I said, Uranus was very much in effect uh, for the annular solar eclipse. Then we had the total lunar eclipse, exact new moon, full moon, and now we're just winding down from this eclipse season. And with the end of Pisces, new moon right on the cusp from Pisces to Aries, we are shifting into a new sequence and into a new energy field, right? So that will also catalyze the turnaround of Jupiter. The former ruler of Pisces even will catalyze that turnaround, which happens this evening, will also help catalyze almost the Mercury retro turnaround on the 20th. So things can move forward again, especially, as I said, into the Aries season, where we might have gone in circles and in loops, but we needed it also from the Mercury retro perspective, especially all in Pisces, to also understand um, the um, the energy and the what happens when these paradoxes show up, when things are not as they seem. Pisces, right? It's a very fluid situation. It's also like not um, very linear. You cannot plan with it so much. You can't rationalize it. You can't reason yourself. You can't think yourself out of it. You have to really feel into it, and you have to go with the energy rather than with your mind, right? And go with the heart and go with where ease and flow is, not where things get super complicated. Again, reinforcing the whole theme of the South Node total lunar eclipse in Virgo, right? So a more release of that Virgo overdrive. That, yeah. And so, again, this week, as I said, we're moving. I'm going a little in circles here as well, so bear with me. So we're moving tomorrow evening out of the moon in Sagittarius to the moon going into Capricorn, and that cusp, I call that the integrity point. So basically, with Sagittarius, we gain a lot of wisdom and understanding and see the bigger picture, but now with Capricorn, we have to implement it, right? Walk your talk, be in integrity. How do you show up with what you know? And even model that in the world, right? Set a good example. And Capricorn says to Sagittarius, talk is cheap, right? So when the rubber hits the road, what does it look like in reality? What you already are aware of and discuss with others or have debates, whatever. And so Moon will be in Capricorn, very pragmatic, very grounded from tomorrow 11th evening on, all day Thursday the 12th, all day Friday the 13th, another marker I get to, and until the 14th in the morning, 8:13 a.m. So the Capricorn moon is a really welcome grounding factor, as I said, although the moon per se is not so comfortable in Capricorn because things can get kind of heavy emotionally and very serious, but it can also show us the reality and where we need to be more grounded, what needs to be in place, and especially ruled by Saturn. Less is more, right? And then we have the moon in Aquarius from the 14th in the morning on the 15th, almost all the weekend, and until the late afternoon of the 16th. Aquarius moon, first going to connect with Pluto right on the 14th, since Pluto is in early Aquarius. So this is about community. This is about what we co-envision as in teams and with friends and collaboration, cooperation, collaboration, sharing, and on an equal level, right? So it's not about somebody's the boss, but we're all in this together. We're a team, and it has to do with systems as well. So we also tune more into the overall system, be it a technological system, a societal system, and maybe also literally the need from the moon's perspective, the needs for peers, for friends, for hanging out with people who understand us, where we can discuss those things that we don't feel, far out and wacko. So then the moon goes into Pisces, and that will be already dark before new moon. So from the 16th in the evening, in the late afternoon, and 17th, and of course also still the 18th, when the new moon will happen at 4, just a second, at 6:23 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time, we'll have the new moon, and the new moon looks like this. So Pisces energy, of course, is especially in the dark moon phase. Dark moon phase is a lot about releases, a lot about washing out the old phase, the lunar phase from new moon to new moon, since the fire horse new moon, the ring of fire new moon, ring of fire new moon eclipse. So it's a washing out, it's a release of that eclipse season, and a preparation at the same time for spring coming in. Here is that new moon chart, just a first glimpse. Next week we look into that again, more detailed, but you get the picture, right? So here is sun and moon at the very end of Pisces, linking over here to Saturn and Neptune in early Aries. This is really a shift right on the spring equinox point, where endings and beginnings meet and overlap. So quite a strong new moon, marking again the end of an era, the end of an old energy, operandi, modus operandi, and the start of the new. So question would be, how are we aligned with that? Are you okay with that? Can you in your own world let go of what you're not anymore and step into the new? We don't know, we don't have the control, right, from the Saturn perspective, Saturn with Neptune. Take it day by day, take it step by step, baby step by baby step, and step into the new, and give life a chance, which is very Aries, right? Allow the new to emerge and be the new. And what's drawing us, who's drawing us, is also Venus, now freshly in Aries since the 6th of March until the 30th. Venus is the first personal planet, the first fast moving planet to move, having moved into and moving through Aries. And Venus has already contacted Saturn and Neptune on the 7th and 8th of March, and then she will be moving towards Chiron and Aries. So I want to say a few words about that. So first of all, Venus almost immediately after entering Aries um, caught up with and passed Neptune, and then Saturn, who's now ahead of Neptune after the conjunction. And so there's been this draw, right, towards the new, and also meeting the renewal with love, and being that courageous and bold uh, goddess of warrior goddess of love, and let love emerge. That's very much Venus in Aries, and that could have been also an antidote, so to say, for overcoming the uncertainty that can come with Neptune, but also the fear and restrictions and notion for control from the Saturn side. So let love lead the way is the overall message. And if you have anything in Aries, you would feel that Venus energy now. So that is attractive, and that draws nowadays energy towards us, right? When you're in this Aries mode. Then Venus will also approach and pass Chiron, which is now super tightly conjunct Aries, ERIS, and you can see that symbol that I penciled in there. It looks like a Pisces symbol almost, but rather than the connection, it's a division line. And this is very apropos, because Aries, ERIS, is the goddess and the archetype of discord and of seeding discord out of revenge and out of not being included. So there's a whole mythology to her, but just in essence, you can find out about that actually in my article for Venus in Aries. I posted a lot about Aries also at this occasion. And Aries, the archetype now and the planetoid now close to Chiron, shows us a lot about the seeds of division and war, and all that creates all these wounds of war. We've seen a lot of that. Aries and Chiron have been conjunct since 2024ish, definitely 2025 and 2026. So yeah, no wonder, right? And that needs to heal. And the question is always, where does it start? How do wars start? Is a big question for Aries, but also Aries is a sign, but also for Aries, right? Because she in effect, in essence, started the Trojan War. And yeah, so and it's sometimes the message here with Aries is also ERIS, is also that small things can um, can snowball, right, and can have big effects. And you have that clearly with wars. And you think it's a small thing or it ends soon or something. No, it can have a snowball effect. And Chiron said we need to heal the wounds of war. So all of this is like totally hot right now. The good news is two factors is, first of all, um, let's start with Venus because we already talked about her. Venus will pass Chiron and Aries, which she does once a year. And this year it will be the 26th of March. So that's great. So again, love leads the way, and she goes towards Taurus then too. We have so much on in a front lines. We have Chiron and Aries leading, right, leading this whole Pisces big tail here behind, right? So but Venus will pass. This is great, right? And on the other hand, also I found out when I looked at the ephemeris of Aries, where is Aries exactly right now in relation to Chiron, super conjunct, will be actually conjunct finally, or the last time, after a few conjunctions in the last 2 years, back and forth. This will be the last conjunction, will be at spring equinox on the 20th of March. And then Chiron will pass Aries, because Aries is slower than Chiron. Aries, in fact, has been in the sign of Aries since the 1920s until the 2040s. So a super long. So pretty much everybody alive now, right, was born with Chiron in Aries, and we've seen it through the wars in the 20th century, ongoingly, and still like in the 21st. So there's been all this seeding of division and wars, and now coming to a head. And Chiron will lead. And that is great. Chiron moves on. Chiron even leaves Aries for the first time this year from the throughout the summer months, and then fully next year. So healing is really in order. And so there's a lot of shifts coming down here towards spring equinox, as you can see. And all of this also will be catalyzed by the end of Pisces new moon on the 18th. So that's a lot. And let's just look a little bit also into other transits this week that stand out. I already mentioned Jupiter going direct. More about that, as I said in my article, to come. And then we have Friday the 13th. So this is the central and second Friday of the Friday the 13th of the year. We had February 13th, we have now March 13th, and we'll have November 13th. So Friday 13th, to debunk that superstitious programming of Friday the 13th, is always important to mention and to educate, because it's has this bad luck reputation and is being even marked through events that could be aligned with that, and we don't want to go into that ceremonial place, but we actually want to honor the feminine, which is the original association with Friday 13th, because Friday is associated in the days of the week that are all have their connection with different gods and goddesses. So Friday is the day of Venus, and Venus is Vendredi, is Viernes in Spanish, and you have Freya in the Norse goddess pantheon, the patroness of Friday, and you have then it's a moon day because we have 13 moon cycles per year, which could be either 13 new moons or full moons. I forgot what's the case this year, but it's 13 moon cycles. So it's a combination of Venus and Moon, and that is all about goddess. So let's again honor goddess at this Friday the 13th. And also additionally, we have on that day, Venus in Aries will be in fire trine, so in a friendly and very mutually supportive connection with Lilith in Sagittarius. So this is very much wild woman energy, wild woman meaning also rewilding and unconditioning ourselves, right? And Venus in Aries, a very fiery, very spirited energy, all supportive of Friday the 13th in its original sense. Then we have on the 13th and 14th is also um, a strong theme around Mars in Pisces, because Mars in Pisces, you can see it again in the chart here. Here is Mars, will be exactly conjunct. Here's Mars, also Mercury. Mars will be exactly conjunct the North Node on Friday, and then Mars will at the same time be also in square with Lilith. Here's Lilith, and so there's a square which we already have that has been activated also at the total lunar eclipse, but here it's now again accentuated. And what is that about? So it's a square with it's a square with Lilith, but it's also in opposition to the south node, so it's a mutable T-square pointing to Lilith. So again, it's a lot about releasing from the Pisces side, surfing the waves of energy together with Mercury retrograde. Maybe we have come to understand uh, not only information that we didn't have before, but also understand the nature of mind and become more mindful in this whole Mercury retro process. And so it's an energizing, a quickening energy with Mars to come to a more spiritual. No, I'm hooked now. Okay, to a spiritual. Energized to be energized spiritually, right, with Mars in Pisces, and to also be in a flow of life again, not going with our Virgo worrying concerns and sweating the small stuff, right, but actually being in the flow again, being in the grace, right, of life, and being led also by our truth, by our heart, by our from Lilith in perspective, Lilith in Sagittarius perspective, the journey of the heart, right? And so yeah, that gets activated over the weekend. Then yeah, and Mercury will be part of that as well. Mercury will do the same thing on the 16th. Mercury retro in Pisces will also go into square with Lilith. So again, mental realignment and back into the flow, back into letting go of all these agendas we might have carried along that could have, could have taken us astray and distracted at all this. So that's it for the week. It's been a long day. I don't know about you, but I had still lots of energy to do this. And if you'd like to check in written format, as I said, you can find my writings on the blog post that is always available, for, directly, or also via my Facebook page, or also on Instagram. I post blog posts as they come out, and I post daily weather. And if you'd like to be on my newsletter, just shoot me a message, and email is below, and I can add you. The newsletter comes out for every new moon and full moon, so the next one will be for the end of Pisces new moon. And wish you a beautiful week, and until next time. And if you like this content, subscribe. You know what to do. Share it with friends. And yeah, maybe see you in real life in the next while. Otherwise, until next time on this channel. Cheers.